Hey there, Truth Seeker. Welcome to my channel and community where we focus on developing the knowledge, understanding, and wisdom to accelerate your ascension into the fifth dimension and higher. For those returning, welcome back and a massive hello to the new subscribers or listeners. My name is David Keratin. I am a galactic astrologer, author, philosopher, indigo warrior, and EDM DJ. Feel free to check out my playlist, which is in the link below. Today, we're going to talk about the supercharged entry of the Sun into Aries, beginning a new synodic cycle or solar cycle of 1 year. This is the true new year that begins today. As a reminder, in my practice, we utilize galactic astrology, which includes the 13th sign of Ophiuchus that was removed by the Babylonians and Roman astrologers. The galactic system is based on the actual time the sun spends in each constellation as opposed to an arbitrary 30 days. You will find extensive content discussing this in my other blogs, so feel free to review those at your leisure. Now I'm going to do a screen share and we'll cover a few different aspects of this today. Bear with me while I do this. All right, I'm calling this the ignition because it's so important. I've been meditating on this for a couple of days when I realised that this was happening, and spent an hour or a couple of hours today outside meditating in nature, and I've covered, as I said, or I'm going to cover the numerology of this. We're going to have a look at the actual chart and some analysis on the chart itself and why this is so positive and exciting. And we'll touch on quickly Aries and the houses, where so this is relevant for you depending on where your Aries falls in your particular astrological chart, which of course is a blueprint of your life path that you indeed selected before you incarnated in this incarnation. And we'll take a look at the Schumann Resonance, which, as you can see here, to be honest, in the last 18 months, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. And we'll have a quick look at that. I've talked a lot about the Schumann Resonance before, but if there was ever a sign that our galactic friends and cosmic family are giving us a bit of a incentive and some what I call ascension jet stream energy to move forward, and that's certainly it. We'll come back to that in a moment. Let's just look at the data for this important date of what is effectively the new solar new year. Of course, because I'm recording this in New Zealand, this occurred today already, and by the time you listen to this, it may well have happened, depending on when you actually get to listen to this blog. But the entry of the sun into Aries is a very important time in astrology because Aries, of course, is the first sign in the zodiac, and the sun entering Aries begins a new 12-month synodical solar cycle. So between April 2021 and April 2022, this is what we're talking about, the next 12 months. And of course, when we're talking about the sun, we're talking about, full-on personal expression. This is about the personality and action and getting out there and actually doing something. So let's have a quick look at the data because this is Southern Hemisphere and Northern Hemisphere. At 13:50 hours in New Zealand, this took place, which is 10 to 2 in the afternoon. So that's happened already at the time of this blog, on Monday, April 19, 2021. And I'm calling this divine timing. And of course, in Eastern Daylight Time, depending on where you are, but in the States, United States, this is Sunday, April 18, 2021. The sun's ingress to Mars commences a new 12-month solar cycle. Really interesting configuration of the numerology here. I don't often see this, but I touch sometimes on numerology and tarot. So we're going to have a look at that because there's a lot of synchronicity here, along with the Schumann Resonance. When you add up in just basic numerology, is to add up all the numbers. So we take 4 for April, 1 and 9, separate the numbers and add them all up. As you can see here, 4 plus 1 plus 9 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 equals 19. So it's April the 19th, and it also adds up to 19. And the same thing, obviously, in the US on the 18th. If you take all of those numbers, 1 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1, you come out with 18. And I think I don't often see that when you have, say, the 19th represented in the day, and then all of the numbers also line up with that. That's what I call a resonance or a harmony. It doesn't happen often in numerology. Usually when you add up the numbers, all the numbers, it comes out to different numbers. So that's very unusual, and I think there's something in that. There are no coincidences at all. So whether you're looking from the Southern Hemisphere perspective on April the 19th or from the Northern on April the 18th, it still works out the same in terms of the numbers. The day and the full numbers both add up to either 18 or 19. Now, in numerology, we'll look at 18 first because I think this is pretty profound in my view. In traditional numerology, the 18 is usually reduced to the root number 9 by simply adding up its individual digits. 1 plus 8 equals 9. This means that the primary energy that influences someone who is aligned with the energy of 18, or of course when it comes up in a day, as it is with this sun's entry to Aries, you're looking at the 1 and the 8 and the 9 as the root numbers. The number 9 is a profoundly spiritual number, which is associated with the hermit in the tarot who goes off into the wilderness in search of spiritual fulfillment. The number 18 is also strongly influenced by the underlying numbers of 1 and 8, which are highly materialistic. 1 is the number of originality and leadership, and we'll come back to that in a moment. Brimming with confidence and charisma, I think that's absolutely awesome. For the sun's ingress to Mars. The number 8 is also known as a power number, which imparts the ability to accomplish great things, to build and manage vast organizations. That's very much an Aries quality. So if you're in leadership, or you are in business, or in a not-for-profit or a spiritual organization, then certainly there's a lot of power in the 8. And it's all related to this ignition moment, this divine timing. When these two numbers combine, the 1 and the 8, with the universal spiritual energy of the number 9, so the 1 and the 8 together, combined to the 9, this can lead to the establishment of a humanitarian organization, the use of wealth or connections for philanthropic purposes, and the self-sufficiency and determination to produce profound outcomes for the betterment of humanity. Beautiful energy there for the 18, which is the number in the Northern Hemisphere that coincides with the entry of the sun's ingress to Mars. The angel number 18 is the number for manifesting abundance into your experience. When you see a number 18, it is a sign that you have mastered the processes of the material world and you are about to see fulfillment of your wishes. Our lives are not just random occurrences. It is also important to note that 18 is made up of the 9s of a 9, indicating that you will soon discover, or you have discovered, or you are about to discover your higher purpose. The 18 is a message from the angels that you will find both spiritual and material fulfillment by remaining focused on your higher purpose in life. So just to recall and recap, the sun enters Aries on the 18th in the Northern Hemisphere and on the 19th in the Southern Hemisphere. So we'll have a look at 19 in the numerology. The 19th card of the major arcana of the tarot is the Sun. Again, some amazing resonances here, which is a very fortunate card in the tarot deck. The Sun is positive and shines a light on all the other energies surrounding it. The image on the tarot card of the Sun is a bright sun shining on a small child who's riding upon a pristine white horse and is thrown off its garments like a soul shedding the past. All of this is going to make sense as we do a quick analysis of the chart itself. When the number 19 occurs in your experience, it signals a renewal of the primal energies, and primal energies are very definitely related to the sign of Aries. And why am I talking about this? Most of us traditionally see the 1st of the 1st as being the new year. And of course, if you follow the Chinese New Year and the lunar calendar, they have different dates. This is the solar new year. So in astrology, and as I've mentioned many times, and those who've listened to me talking about this before, you'll know that we use the galactic zodiac, which is the original zodiac, and I mentioned that in the introduction. Of course, as you can see on the screen here, I appreciate this might be quite small. However, this is the galactic zodiac representing the moment of the Sun's ingress to Mars. And this is very, very important in terms of setting objectives, intentions, and putting the past behind you. The last 12-month cycle that began in April last year is concluded, and there's a new cycle that begins today. And personally, I use the Sun's ingress to Mars each year as a reset point for myself and setting some strong intentions for the next 12 months. To align myself with the movement of the Sun through the galactic zodiac. And of course, if you're following the old Ptolemaic system, or perhaps I'm a little cheeky saying this, but as far as I'm concerned, it's a false system because it has removed the sign down here, which is Ophiuchus, which is the divine feminine essence. And I do some blogs on that, and I won't go into that deeply here. Suffice to say that when you pop that sign back into the proper astrology, shifts everything around. So what that means is that without that there, if you were looking up a website or listening to this and thinking, what's he talking about? He's lost the plot. The Sun isn't in Aries. Well, the Sun is in Aries because this is based on the time that the actual Sun's, the time that the Sun ends in each constellation. The Roman Ptolemaic system, or the common Western astrology system, Cetus system, divides astrology into 12 equal houses. That is a false overlay, and that is why you were following astronomy or actually tracking the Sun's movement, you would know that actually today is when the Sun enters Aries. Now, the reason that I wanted to share this blog and why it's so profound is because, again, there are no coincidences. At the exact same time, as you can see here, as the Sun is entering Aries, it's also an exact conjunction, literally, it's right on top of each other, and you don't often see this. This is profound timing, cosmic timing. This is hand of God stuff. At this exact moment, the Sun is conjunct Mercury. Now, very close by here is Venus. And Venus energy and Mercury energy, this is feminine energy, this is masculine energy. And of course, the Sun is amplifying both the masculine and the feminine. And in the, some of the ancient texts, and particularly the Emerald tablets, and you go all the way back into the very old astrology, the merge of Venus and Hermes, it's all about the merge of the divine feminine and the sacred masculine. So that is a very, very important combination of the Sun conjunct Mercury, conjunct Venus at the same time. The most profound part is, as you can see here, guys, is that the Sun is exactly conjunct Mercury. in line with the beginning of this new 12-month cycle that will conclude when the sun goes all the way around and comes back to this origination point. Now, what's amplifying this even more, and of course, bearing in mind that Jupiter, which is sitting here in the galactic astrology, is in the very late degrees. You can see there he is sitting at 26 degrees Capricorn, which is an earth sign. And Jupiter is in a sextile relationship, which is a very favorable relationship to this sun, this new solar cycle, this synodic cycle of 12 months. And on the other side, here, also in a sextile, so you're getting really positive energy from Jupiter, which is an expensive energy. So anything that you plan to do, that you set intentions, that you start today for the next 12 months will get a boost from a very positive Jupiter alignment that's sitting in a very, very awesome place. This particular cycle that's beginning over the next 12 months. And the other positive about this is the sign of Mars here, which is sitting at 33 degrees Taurus. Jupiter is in an earth sign, Mars is in an earth sign, and Mars is also in a sextile relationship. Those of you who follow astrology will know that sextiles and trines are the most positive signs. They are, a conjunction is sometimes a little difficult to navigate because you're combining two energies, but that's a sextile there from Mars, which is a go, go, go sign. And of course, Mars is the ruler of Aries. So again, very positive. Couldn't write a script. If you were trying to design this, if you were the cosmic designer, you'd be laughing, thinking, wow, how good is this for humanity, both at an individual and a collective level? So you've got this positive impetus coming from Jupiter, and you've got this positive impetus coming from Mars. And interestingly, both Mars and Jupiter are in earth signs, which says that this is a very grounded energy. This is all about taking action on the earth plane. This is very much about stepping forward, and we're going to look at where Aries is in the houses shortly and how that might manifest for you. The other positive here is, and I've talked about this in a blog a couple of weeks ago, is Pluto. And Pluto is in a square relationship. Now, we have that, you've got this positive go for it energy here with Jupiter and Mars. You've got this beautiful alignment of the sun and Mars and Aries, beg your pardon. Now, Aries is a fire sign, as we all know, and also what they call a cardinal sign, which is a beginning sign. It is the beginning, and of course, beginnings also represent endings. So Pluto represents that heavy shadow work that you've been engaged with, and all of us have been doing different levels of that across, our emotions and our mind and even physically. This again is a very positive sign to move forward, and that some of that heavy shadow work is behind you now. And the sign, if you're looking for divine timing and divine encouragement, it's certainly here to start new projects, new initiatives. It's really, really positive energy, and put down the foot down. Don't waste any time. It also feels like in my meditation today, and I've mentioned this before, team, that like I spend at least an hour, sometimes an hour and a half to 2 hours in meditation, not every day, but most days. And I've been getting very clear messages from my guides that this is not only the beginning of an incredible 12-month cycle, positive, hugely positive, it's also the beginning of a pretty amazing week of some transformations and things that, there's no predictions here, but this is just a sense. I'm a very old soul. I know that just from my own configuration of my chart, which one day I might sort of unravel for you, but trust me on this, it's time to go, and you're going to hear that from many channelers right now are saying this is a turning point for sure. Now, the other thing that I wanted to touch on here, of course, I've talked about Mercury and Venus, is this. Down here is the sign of Juno. And I've done a separate blog on Juno if you want to really do a deep dive in Juno. It's a sign of the twin flame relationship. Now, there's a trine, so there's basically no negative here. There's a trine from the sun's entry to Mars. The sun is conjunct Mercury and Venus, which is the masculine and the feminine. This here is also trine to Juno. So if you are, and been thinking about, and some of us, have been wondering, you've been doing some shadow work, you've been preparing yourself spiritually for the ascension to the fifth dimension, you may even be there, you've turned a corner, but you're thinking, where's my twin flame? Where's my mate? Where's that special person? Well, again, there's a trine here from the Juno energy. It's actually traversing through the sign of Ophiuchus, which is the divine feminine. This is the ether when we're looking at spiritual alchemy, and you think about fire, earth, air, water, and you think about also the pentagram, which has been terribly misused. But the fifth element is ether, and ether is the divine feminine. And it's interesting that Juno is traversing through. Currently, she is in a retrograde motion, so she's retracing some ground, but this trine up here, and here's the masculine and the feminine, and the sun is saying there could be some really positive signs for you if you are looking for your twin flame relationship manifest. Again, a very, very positive sign of that. Now, in addition, there's so much going on here that is so beautiful and positive, and I'm going to probably end up missing some of it. Generally, when I do these kind of live interpretations, I go back and listen to them and think, oh, blow it, I missed something, but I'm going to try and cover it all. Down here, Arcturus. This is the fixed star Arcturus. Now, this is directly opposite Arcturus. And I've talked before about the Arcturians and the Sirians. Here, the fixed star Sirius, the fixed star Arcturus, the galactic center, which is at 26 to 27 degrees Sagittarius, where Pluto is currently located. This galactic center, and I do another blog extensively on that. This is the portal or the entry for the word. The word of God, or the higher consciousness, the divine intelligence, flows through into our reality, into our solar system, through the galactic center, which is just in here in Sagittarius. And it's interesting that Pluto is still just hovering around there. When those messages come through, there's a network, if you like. There's a network of various signs, but two of the hubs, or if this was a computer system, these would be nodes. In terms of messages that come through Arcturus, and we all know about the Arcturians, and we all know about the Sirians, and we all know about the Pleiadians, and we all know about the Lyrians and the Andromedeans, and there's various messages. So the Arcturus, fixed star Arcturus, is directly opposite this entry of the Sun conjunct Jupiter, conjunct Mercury, conjunct Venus, sextile Jupiter, sextile Mars, trine Juno, and square Pluto is also opposite Arcturus. So I can't possibly imagine or cover all of the Arcturian channels, but it would not surprise me if there's a whole lot of positive energy coming through around this. It might not directly reference this particular astrological configuration, but I would imagine there'll be massively positive Arcturian channels coming through all over the place at this time. Now, just looking through here, it's very small. This is the chart, right? So for those astrology geeks, This is the magic in here. This is all the angles. So I'm just looking through this to see if there's anything else that's worth covering. Looks like, yes, there is a relationship between Chiron or Chiron. I call it Chiron, but the wounded healer energy and the moon. So there's a square relationship here from Chiron and the moon. That talks to me about, you know, this is an emotional aspect. There's some and the moon, the reason I'm drawing this out is that the moon is conjunct, as you can see here, is directly in a conjunction with the star Sirius. This is a beneficial conjunction. The moon's transit is very fleeting and normally only lasts 24 hours to 48 hours maximum. So only about, there's a very small portal here, but there's a positive, nice little nudge from any spiritual wounds. Chiron is currently located and is basically all the time operates in Pisces here. But with the moon conjunct Sirius, any wounding that you might have will come to the surface, and it will be alchemized through this beginning of the new 12-month solar cycle. Now, I think that's it. The moon is also trying to Neptune. Neptune is dreams, incredible creativity. So that's very emotional. Here's the relationship. So there's, again, any way you look at this, it's incredibly profound. So the beginning of a 12-month cycle beginning today, and jump on board. This is if you've been waiting for a divine sign, if you've been bogged down in transformation, Pluto, if you've been spiritually wounded and you've had enough of it, it's time to go. And remember, Arcturus is down in here, so obviously encouraging us to step forward with a lot of confidence. Now, again, there's a whole lot behind spiritual alchemy, but I've just put out a little piece here. This entry of the sun into Mars is the beginning of a spiritual alchemical process in alchemy. This means the purification of one's consciousness through the process of exposure to the fire elements and or application of intense heat. The process of heating the body and aura to a high temperature, causing a loss of moisture or oxidation, and breaking it down into simpler substances to prepare to move blockages and debris. And that very much resonates with the square down here of Pluto. It's time to pick things up and to move forward and take some strides. Now, in terms of practical application for you, depending on when and how, or if you've cast a chart, you will probably instinctively know where Aries is in the houses for you. Aries will always be one of these houses, one of these 12 houses, and I've just put notes here about what this might mean for you. So if you have Aries in the first house, again, remember, Aries is number one, it's fire, it's a cardinal sign. So this is all about outward expression. And there's an amplification coming through here from Mars himself and obviously Jupiter. So this is not shrinking violet stuff. This is time to find your rhythm and express and go big. Aries in the houses, if this is happening in your first house, this is about your personality and leadership. If you've been holding back in expressing yourself, or you are a leader, this is the next 12 months perhaps is a time to shine in terms of your leadership, particularly bringing your strong personality through. We need strong leaders, male and female right now, masculine and feminine. It's not just that's both. If Aries is in the second house, this is about your resources. This is about putting your money, your skills and your talents out there on the table. It's about utilization, right? It's about taking action. If Aries is in your third house, this is about communication and finding your voice. Now, that could be in writing, it could be in starting a blog. Only you will know that. But I'm sharing that if the Aries is in the third house, this is occurring in your third house. This is about finding your voice. It's also linked, of course, to the fifth chakra and the blue ray, but that's for a different day. If Aries is in the fourth house, this is about your nurturing and protecting side. Of course, the fourth house is the sign of the mother and the moon. So if you are, highly empathic, you are a nurturer and a protector. And this, of course, does not simply apply to females. There are plenty of nurturing and protective males out there. So again, if this is happening in your fourth house, this is about being, unfolding and revealing and bringing out that nurturing and protective instincts that you have. Bring it big. Remember, Jupiter's involved with this. Jupiter's motion around the zodiac, he takes 12 years, so we won't see this again. Jupiter will not be in this position again until what, 2033, and Mars takes 2 years, so we won't see that we won't see this configuration again for 12 years and possibly ever. This is how profound this is. Mars takes 2 years, so this time next year Mars will not be in that location. He'll be probably down here somewhere, and it'll take until April 2023 for this to be replicated. And of course, by then Jupiter's moved, and Venus is also moved. So going back to the Aries and the houses for you, if this is occurring in your fifth house, this is all about your artistic and creative expression. So if you're an actor, a DJ, a blogger, this is it. This is the go sign. This is the divine timing. If you've been wondering and waiting for the right timing, and timing is everything. If you want to ride on the wings of the ascension jet stream and you want to pick up all of this positive, hugely positive energy, and you're in the artistical creative space, and this is happening in your fifth house, boom, time to go. If it's in the sixth house, they call this the mundane house. This applies to the sixth house as it does to all of them. The sixth house of work. So, this could be about not working harder, but working smarter. And it could also be about your physical health and well-being. So if you've been thinking about undertaking some sort of rehab or, doing thinking of, getting to the gym, or anything to do with work or physical health and well-being, time to go, time to do it, time to stop procrastinating, time to go. If this is located in your seventh house, this is about significant relationships, both professional and personal, igniting them, taking them to another level. It might be about starting a new partnership. It might be, as I said before, ignition of the twin flame relationship. I mean, this, as I said, this configuration here of both Mercury and Venus in a trine to Juno, again, we won't see this again. This may never happen again in our lifetimes. So if you've been waiting patiently, and Aries is your seventh house, and this is happening in there, you may well find your dreams are going to come true, and that your professional aspirations, in terms of actually signing contracts and putting pen to paper, this could be the time. And I'd say also, just a reminder, that this is a 12-month cycle. So this is the very first day of a 12-month cycle. So this might not happen today, but it could be something you're thinking about. And this is about expressing intentions. This is about putting intention out into the field, and doing it with a lot of confidence. If Aries is your eighth house, this is about leveraging. The eighth house is often misunderstood, but this is about leveraging resources. And, the second house is about raw resources. This is about leveraging those resources and taking them to another level. And the seventh and the eighth houses are actually quite closely related. leverage might be combining your resources with somebody else. It could be borrowing some money to start a transformation project. And that's what I've noted here, that 8th is the house of Pluto, house of transformation. Leveraging resources could in fact be about using your money, skills and talents. The 2 and the 8, the 2nd and the 8th, they're opposites and they're both closely related. So this is all about leveraging resources. It tends to be around financial, but it's not just about financial resources. But leverage is the key, and transformation is the key. The 9th house, Aries in the 9th house, is all to do with the higher mind and learning. This is about going deep into esoteric, mystery schools, metaphysical, things like geomancy, ley lines, grids, all of that amazing metaphysical, sacred mystery schools, you know, from a spiritual perspective. It may also be higher learning to do with tertiary, university education, diplomas, all of that. Time to go if you've been thinking about that over the next 12 months. Aries in the 10th house is all about career and public image. You know, the next 12 months could see you rising to a place of very high career prominence or public image, whatever that happens to be. However that is configured for you, this is a very positive sign. If you've got a lot of momentum in that space building up, you'll probably see something, or likely see something very satisfying over the next 12 months. There's no negative energies here. Often when you see a chart, you look at it, or I will look at it, and you know, where's the negative energy? Where's the roadblocks? Where's the speed bumps? Where's that sort of friction coming from? It just doesn't exist here. Doesn't exist. The 11th house of Aries is in the 11th house. Most of this is about you and ego and personality. When you get beyond the 10th house, you get into the 11th and the 12th, the higher houses. You're talking about the collective and the contribution that you can make to others is the primary focus. So in the Aries in the 11th house is about collective consciousness, and this is, you know, the 11th house is also the ruled by the Uranian energy, and you know, this is technology, this is platforms. So when we talk about collective consciousness and an Aries, and I've got my Aries North Node here, so I talk about this with a lot of authority. This is about, you know, contributing to, in this case, the collective consciousness and the growth of consciousness in some way, using usually technology to do that, whether it's social media, or some other method. It could be building some amazing technology if that's what you're into as well. Bearing in mind that Aries is all about, you know, leadership and you know, he's represented also by the ram, so there's, and the warrior and Mars. So you know, Aries leadership could be coming to play in here. The 12th house, it's all about dreams and visions. So igniting, Aries is the fire sign, igniting you might have been having some big dreams and visions. You might have incredibly high levels of creativity and profound artistic expression that has just been waiting to come out. And I know that there are, as we all do, that there are some incredible artists out there that can bring music or digital art. I mean, the whole area of non-fungible tokens and intellectual property, everything's blowing up in this space in an incredibly positive way. I mentioned before that I am run a business consultancy, a strategic consultancy, a digital business as well. And you know, in this whole found creative artistic expression, there are, in the new world of blockchain and decentralized finance and distributed ledgers, and NFT is the acronym that's blowing up right now. This is one area where if you are a digital artist, or you have big dreams and visions and you want to write a book, or sing some beautiful music, or put together some incredible art, this is the time to do it over the next 12 months and to set some very strong intentions around that. Now, as we know, I love my Schumann Resonance, and I always like to look at these correlations and correspondences of when you get something happening like this, and you've got this Arcturian energy in here, and you've got the moon conjunct Sirius, and you've got Jupiter expanding, and you've got Mars encouraging, all of this. Wow, look at this, guys. Absolutely unreal what is happening right now overnight with the Schumann Resonance. Now, I've done 3 or 4 blogs on the Schumann Resonance, and I've talked about that, but I don't think in all of the time I've been looking at this pretty closely for the last 18 months, I don't think I've ever seen a whiteout like that across just one day. And in fact, it's not, you can actually see that this was beginning to build up around the 17th, a couple of days ago, and as the energy has really ramped up. This is just intense, and it's going right through the electromagnetic spectrum. This isn't just low frequency energy. This is right up to high frequency gamma, and we'll touch on that briefly now. The human brain waves, the Schumann Resonance waves in the Earth's magnetic field overlap our brain waves. We are fundamentally connected to the Schumann Resonance. So when we get this coming through from the ionosphere, it is incredibly positive. This is a wake up. If you're already awake, you'll be wired. If you're not awake, you'll be wondering what's that expression? There are 3 types of people. There are those that are wondering what happens or what's happening. There are those that are making it happen. That's Aries. And there are those that are watching what's happening. Well, if you're wondering what's happening, you're asleep, and you're in a sleep state, I don't know, I mean, wow, look, yeah. So it's hitting everything. It's hitting delta, it's hitting theta, it's hitting alpha brain waves, beta brain waves, and gamma brain waves. Whales and dolphins, and I've talked about this before, when gamma energy is coming through, there's information being processed simultaneously in both the feminine intelligence, creative intelligence, and the right brain, masculine, so the left brain, right brain are both working at the same time when you get gamma frequencies. Isn't that beautiful when you think about, here we go, Hermes, or Mercury and Venus, and then we'll talk about this gamma energies, just both sides of the brain, insight and expanded consciousness. But that's not all. Interesting that whales and dolphins operate in those frequencies as well. This is everything, right? Every frequency has been activated, and I don't know what's going to happen overnight. I mean, there's a gap here obviously leading into the next 24 hours. I'll put a link to where I get this information from in the show notes, but it wouldn't surprise me if this continues, because you can see here that this hasn't stopped, and I don't think there's any coincidences at all in what's going on. I don't believe in them. I don't believe in coincidences. So there we go, team. I'm leaving this as a way of encouragement. The ignition, I'm calling it, divine timing. This is the entry of the sun, the solar sun, Ra, into the first sign of the galactic zodiac. This is the beginning of a new solar year. It's also the beginning of, I think, a trigger point for, it wouldn't surprise me if between now and leading up to the blood moon, a total lunar eclipse on the 26th of May 2021, and that is so profound. I've been looking at that already, and there's so much going on. I'm waiting for the right time to bring that through. I'm meditating deeply on that, because I think what we're seeing today, beginning on the 18th or 19th of April, depending on where you are, and concluding in and around May 26th, which is a huge lunar eclipse called a blood moon, a super moon. It is huge. It is a total lunar eclipse that day. There's only a couple of eclipses this year. I think there might even be 3. Normally there's 6 or 7. I think last year we had maybe 6, including a solar eclipse on the grand conjunction of December 20. All of this actually goes back to December 20 last year, when there was the grand conjunction, and we just continue. This is the other side of it. This is hugely beneficial ascension energy. This is what I call an ascension accelerator. Time to go and be very, very confident. And that shadow work representing Pluto, and this here, the Chiron moon conjunct Sirius, this is about saying a lot of that is behind you now. Time to move forward. Time to do it with a huge amount of confidence and backing by the galactics and our soul family and soul tribes. They are pouring light onto the planet right now, and particularly in here, just to close this out, if you have your Aries in the 11th and 12th house, this is time to get your messages out to the collective. No matter, look, just go. You're going to have the wind beneath your wings, the wind in your sails. You're going to be up in the stratosphere. And if you've got high levels of creativity, they are being absolutely activated right now with this gamma rays. There are some people who actually operate quite easily. There might be those dreamy, drifty, deeply soulful people that are Pisceans, or they have the moon in Pisces. They also have Aries in Pisces, or Aries in the 12th house. Aries in the 12th house is what I'm talking about. They've got this sort of blend of Aries, Pisces, and it's pretty powerful to have an Aries 12th house. So with no further ado, thanks for your time. It is so, and so it is. Namaste.